Morning, everybody. I'd like to call the County of Sullivan IDA to order. Roll call.
Mr. Steingart?
Here.
Mr. Alport?
Here.
Mr. Barbuti?
Here.
Mr. Gold?
Here.
Mr. Sykes?
Here.
Ms. Shattuck? Here. Ms. Lofton? Here. Mr. Reaver?
Here.
Mr. White?
Here.
Okay, before we go into any other business, I'm sure all of the board members are aware, but I want to publicly thank, first tell you what it is there were two resignations, Harris and Harold sent in their resignations as of the end of the year. And it's with much regret that I have to announce it because we're losing two fabulous board members. Serving on the IDA it's an honor, but it's quite a responsibility. We've done things here before they were required, such as giving you financial disclosure, trying to show that we're doing the right thing. So public service is a great thing, but if anything, this certainly is one of the toughest positions you could do because of giving a lot of your personal life out. Plus the responsibility, and obviously it's a sensitive area when you're giving benefits out. So personally, it's been an honor to serve with both of you on this board. I'm very proud of being the chairman, and it's because of this board. It has a lot to do with that. So thank you. I wish I could change your mind because they're going to be two shoes that are very difficult to fill. The amount of knowledge you have on both of you, people also don't realize the detail that goes into the projects and review from the financial end of it to make sure that their the cost benefit is done properly is not something just anybody can do. You really need a business background or accounting, and both you gentlemen. Excuse me. So I can't thank you both enough, and you're going to be sorely missed. So, yeah. Yes.
When I first heard that Harold was resigning, I didn't know that Harris was also resigning, and I said I'd like to just pay a little tribute to them by a little statement of how much you mean to us here on the board. And I said, well, the easiest thing would be just think of words that come to your mind when you think of these guys. And I started the list, and it really got extensive because, family, integrity, wisdom, empathy, honesty, optimism, belief in the goodness of people, industrious, successful, visionary, absence of prejudice. I couldn't come up with a single word for that. Absence of prejudice, non-discriminatory, generous, giving, civic-minded. And those all applied to Harold, and then because you were going to be, and then they all applied to Harris as well. So
thank you for the kind
privilege
words.
serving with you guys, and like you said, we are going to miss that.
I just want to say
You want to add a word? There's
There's
one I missed.
If I was knowing I was that good, I never would have.
So we can give you the letter back.
There you go. We
can give you your letter back.
Well, I want to say it's really, if I may.
Yes.
I just want to say it's been a great honor for me to have served over the years with an outstanding group of people. And we've lost some very good people over the years. We've placed them, but we've always had a first-rate group of people here. Between Alan, Scott, and Walter, and Jennifer, and we've always had leadership. In addition to the chairman, the leadership of those three. That's really, and the people of Sullivan County don't really get the message of how important they are. It's been an honor for me to serve.
If I may, just bear with me. At this time, I'd like to reflect on the last 11 years that I've served on the Sullivan County IDA and most recently the Sullivan County funding. I look back over our accomplishments and review the overall picture I believe we have made such a positive improvement in the economic development within the county. The IDA has brought businesses to Sullivan County along with preserving existing businesses. I feel that this is due in great part to our board members, both past and present. At this time, I'd like to recognize and thank Mr. Gold for his friendship and his mentorship. Recently, New York State auditors have praised our work in keeping to their standards, guidelines, and performance. Thanks to the chair, Mr. Steingart, and IDA counsel, Mr. Vigliano, I would like, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank Mr. Alan Scott, CEO, Ms. Jen Berlinski, Executive Director, Jen Flay, Business Development. Hopefully, our legislators now believe in what the IDA does and how it performs. It seems to me now is the time for them to give you the unconditional support you can do what's best for the county. I look forward to reading and hearing about the future projects to come and feel the county will continue to benefit from our leadership. I am and will continue to be proud of the service as a board member. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to serve.
Thank you.
Okay. You still can give it back, but you know, I'll be glad to hand it over.
Honestly, he said he's going up in that chair behind Jen.
Oh, excuse me, and Harold is gonna drive me here.
So we'll miss you. Okay, approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, bills and communication? Motion, no discussion?
I'll
Motion
second.
to accept, second? Okay, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Director reports?
Just wanted to say a few words quickly. Not only best wishes, and it has been an honor to work with both Harris and Howard over the years, and it will be very much missed. At the end of November, we did close with the Varia project, so that's been completed up to that stage. We're still waiting to hear about a determination of the food hub project application, and I'm expecting this month. Jen, they're still saying this month?
That's the word that we
Yeah.
hear.
But we haven't heard anything officially yet. We will be talking later about the Votus Davos project, so I don't think I want to say anything about that now. And those are the things I wanted to bring up, besides the summary that I had already submitted, so.
Okay. Alan?
Regarding the sale of the Sullivan West School in Callicoon, we continue to talk with representatives of the project as well as the town of Fremont officials. Sullivan West School District Superintendent is very thankful for the involvement of the IDA. I've attended various meetings at Walter's office concerning possible projects that we're working on or potentially can work on. Also continue to network with our project in Roscoe and town of Rockland officials concerning this project. And perhaps we should schedule that, Ira, as we had discussed, for possibly one of the most, maybe the next IDA board meeting concerning what the board would like to do concerning the action on that project. I've dealt with many inquiries concerning the IDA, and I will point out, based upon a meeting that Jen and I attended of the town board of the town of Callicoon last night, that we had a tremendous reception level from the town of Callicoon board, and I think the things that we're doing in terms of going out in the community to town board meetings and making presentations has finally turned a corner, and it was a very receptive meeting, and the general public as well as town officials and county officials is really starting to understand the work and effort that the IDA puts into different projects. So it was really a kind of a warming meeting. Jen and I made a presentation on behalf of the IDA last night. We've involved much time and energy on work on a workout situation involving two IGA projects, one in Liberty and one in Rock Hill, concerning local issues that are related to the ag community. Networking with 2 potential tourism destination projects and 1 manufacturing project. And also, I believe, Jennifer, that you have also reported to the board on the Varia Lifestyle Kutcher's public hearing. But I wanted to report that that was also an extremely positive public hearing, and that we received about 25 letters of support for the project, to move forward with the project, as well as having between 40 and 50 people attend that meeting, and not one person spoke in the negative. Everyone was very supportive, so I just wanted to bring that to the attention of the board. Also continued to attend closings at Walter's office regarding IDA's execution of documents related to IDA board resolutions and actions. Continue to monitor investments of the IDA. We're preparing hopefully for an increase in the interest rates if the taper ever gets tapered. So we're positioning ourselves in terms of our investments. Tomorrow we're hoping to, with Jennifer and Jen, attend a site visit at Catskill Brewery, which is in Livingston Manor, which is readying themselves for a soft opening and then a final opening. That project is getting closer to fruition now, so we'll update the board at the next board meeting. And with respect to going out to individual town board meetings, we're going to make an effort to attend twice a year individual town board meetings throughout the county, in continuing effort to inform them about different work that the IDA is doing, and different projects and different possibilities and different economies associated with the projects that we're working on with the IDA board. That piece of information, and I know you're all aware of that, and Ira, it's been your direction to do that, is really doing us right with the individual towns, and they're very thankful that we're reaching out to them and getting the information to them. Okay, thank you, Ira. And today I just want to say that I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to work with Harold and Harris, 2 of the finest gentlemen in Sullivan County, and to say that they will be sorely missed. It's an understatement, because in my opinion their shoes are never going to be able to be filled. So thank you very much. Really enjoyed working with the 2 of you fellows.
Okay, thank you. We have one resolution approving the 4th quarter payment for the partnership. Motion?
I'll move it.
Second? Any discussion?
Can you note that I'm abstaining?
And the reason you're abstaining is, for the record?
Because I am also a board member of the partnership.
There you go. That's right.
Noted.
How many of these do you have? One.
No. Okay, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. One abstention.
That's okay.
New business, we have the dates for next year, I see?
We have the update on the voter status. You wanna do
Yes,
that?
okay, yeah, I see.
You want me to do it? You wanna do it?
How about if I start and you finish?
Go ahead.
The board members did receive emails from me, and the application that we received from the Votus Davos project. Harold got it, hard copy this morning. What's happening right now is we're trying to see if we can finish the whole project by the end of the year. So we set a public hearing on December 23rd, it's a Monday, at 10 o'clock. It has to be held in the town that the project's going to be in, so it's the town of Fallsburg Town Hall, their court, at 10 o'clock. We're waiting still for the cost benefit, which should be done, I was told later this week or early next week, so that will go out to the board, of course, prior to the public hearing. So Walter, I guess the next thing really is, I mean, if we're gonna recess this meeting and possibly hold a reconvene meeting to do a resolution for that project, do we wanna do it immediately after the public hearing in Fallsburg?
Can I ask a question? What is the rush for getting this done before the end of the year?
I have the same
Because
question.
we got this at 2:30 yesterday, it's a 52-page document, and we're here discussing it today. Didn't get home till 6:30 last night, I didn't have time to go through a 52-page document, and I feel that this is very rushed, and I'm curious why
It's
we're
the
rushing it.
applicant's request, not ours, so if any,
Okay.
my feeling has been, and I've said it from day one, if there's a single member of the board that feels rushed, we'll do it in our time.
I just think,
There's
there's a
nothing
lot of
to be
people that are gonna
acted
be
on
traveling,
today.
right, there's gonna be people that are gonna be a lot of traveling going on in the holidays, and,
I can certainly give you an overview of the application, which may or may not make you feel
okay,
less concerned or more concerned.
that would be helpful.
The application is an application just for the infrastructure at Davos. It's not an application for them to do anything more than fix the roads, relocate a road, and build sewer and water infrastructure, much of which already exists and just needs to be replaced. So that's the nature of the application. It's much like the application for the Concord, where we have all of this that we read in the press about what might happen there someday, but the nature of the application that is before you now is simply an application for what would, in many contexts, be considered public utilities. That's all it is.
Will this tie into the existing sewer and water?
Well, there is a water supply to most of the Davos project. That's a town water district. There's no water pipelines in the roads that they're proposing to build to do things in the future. The sewer is a mixed bag. There's a couple of parts of Davos that are known as Fox Run and Davos in the Woods, which are hooked up to the village of Woodridge's sewer plant through a pump station. There's another part that was called Davos Point Condominium that's hooked up to the Davos sewer plant that's down along the Neversink River. And then there's a third part that was all constructed before you were born, called Aspen Lane. And that's like quarter-acre lots with houses on them, and they have septic systems like in their yards. And part of this project would be to fix that, what has been like a 30 or 40-year problem, because those quarter-acre septic systems don't work too well. So that's all that the project entails, but it's still, I've told the applicant, if there's anybody concerned about the project, being rushed, and you got the application as soon as we got it.
Right.
They've been working on it for many months because it's a very complicated project from the standpoint they're financing. Unlike Butcher's, where there's a guy with a lot of money, and unlike the Concord, where there's a public company where you can go on the internet and look at their balance sheet. The Davos project is through the EB5 program, and they had a lot of questions with their immigration lawyers and their securities lawyers on how to frame out their application. We've been talking to them since August. Got the application 2 or 3 days before Jennifer got it out to us. But that's the nature of the application. So.
My concern is that I was aware of the pre-existing septic issues, and I don't want to see us putting a project that isn't going to get off the bill and giving tax breaks for them to fix the sewer and fix the infrastructure if the project's not going to go anywhere.
Well,
That's my concern.
Okay.
That's my whole concern, because I knew those issues existed, even though they predate me.
They predate all of us.
I do know that there are problems, and I don't want to see us
The town-
using this system to
The
get
town-
something
Sandy,
else
wouldn't
done
we-
that's not as
Let's say that
necessarily
scenario,
associated with it.
wouldn't we be better off fixing that and getting a new sewer plant, even if it didn't proceed to the next level, to solve that? The town's not
But
in
then
a
it's
position
not,
to do
but then
it.
it's not economic development, and that's what this agency is here to do. It's not creating jobs to fix that sewer plant
With
through
construction jobs.
a tax break.
It's creating construction
Well,
jobs.
your question was though, and I didn't hear an answer to it. What's the rush?
The applicant has indicated that they have a need to get it going. So if we
don't know what that, are they gonna save $500,000 by getting it done by, I mean, I don't know what, he asked the question, I mean, so that's, the applicant asked to have it done by the end of the year.
There's some complexity that's well above my pay grade involving a form that they need to file annually as part of the EB-5 program. I can tell you the form number is Form 528, but I don't know anything.
Everybody knows EB-5 what it is.
No.
No.
Let's tell everybody what an EB-5 is.
I'm not sure that let's ask the applicant to come to a meeting, because I could tell you
Okay.
what I know about it, but you could put what I know about EB-5.
From my understanding-
Well, I
is
think
the
you just
way-
said it perfectly, actually, right there. If I'm an applicant, and this is with all due respect to the applicant, if I'm an applicant and I need something rushed by the end of the year and I deliver it on December 10th, I'm certainly gonna show up to the meeting to be able to answer questions. So
Well, they
I-
intend to show up at the public
But-
hearing, that's when we told them
Can
to
I-
come.
can
They
I
didn't
have
know
a
this was even on the
suggestion?
agenda.
I have a suggestion.
They didn't even know it was on
I
the
do,
agenda.
as the chairman, I do not want to have a vote if one member feels uncomfortable. But on the other side of the coin, I don't have a problem with them presenting all the information and us going through it, and if we're not satisfied, not vote until we are. But why not see what they're gonna present and go down that road, and if we're not satisfied and we don't have enough information, just say they have to wait. But, there's a public hearing being held on the 23rd. Let them come to present us, and if we're not ready, we just won't vote on it. But why not proceed and then go from there?
Well, there's nothing wrong with scheduling a public hearing.
No, I'm talking about, and have, we
I
need
understand,
more.
but you're
We don't
scheduling
need,
it
we
the
don't
day
have the
before
cost
Christmas
benefit
Eve.
analysis.
You're scheduling it the day before Christmas Eve. People are traveling. This is insanity.
I think so too. That's a tough day to schedule a public hearing. I don't think it's fair for those people who might have concerns.
Okay.
Okay, I can agree with, I can completely agree with that. So.
Fine. I have no problem.
I think that if there's a real compelling reason that they have to get this done that we don't understand today, then what I would recommend is that they articulate that, and if we have to have a special meeting between now and the end of the year, I mean, I'm willing to come back, if we have to come back tomorrow or the next day or whatever it is, but I think based on what we've heard, we don't really understand the rush, and they should try to explain that.
Okay.
I don't think they're gonna explain it more than what I just said, to be fair. They're gonna indicate that at the end of this year, they need to file an update form with the Immigration and Naturalization Service under the EB-5 program, or whoever administers that program.
USCIS.
USCIS, and they would like to be in a position to indicate that that certain things have been accomplished in the last 6 months, because they have to file that form every 6 months.
Well, if they had 6 months, they shouldn't have waited till December 10th.
Well, that's very easy to
I
say.
mean, I
That's very easy
understand
to
that.
say, but
I
I can
understand
tell
that.
you that we've been meeting with them since August, and when you ask government officials for things, you don't always get rapid responses. So you could be right, and you might be completely wrong. They may have gotten the information they needed from the United States of America 2 days before they filed that application. And they may have been asking for it every day since August. I don't know the circumstances, but I know that they have been held up through things that are not within their control.
And to be fair about it, yes, this is just coming to our board, but they've been working on this project for 2 years with the town of Fallsburg, with the planning board. This is not just a project that just popped up that they're trying to squeeze through. They're at the final stages of getting final approval from the planning board in Fallsburg. So it's not like all of a sudden they just got this property. They've been working for years getting to this stage. No, but here again, I want to reiterate that if this board is not prepared, I don't want to rush it.
I've told them that throughout the process, that if there's one board member that's uncomfortable, when the time comes.
Wouldn't it be
It's
fair
not
to
gonna
say
happen.
that there's a number of people in that area going to have legitimate questions about this project?
For the public
Absolutely.
meeting.
To be honest, I think
I don't
every one of
expect that, do
those,
you?
first,
Absolutely.
I don't know if this is disclosure or not, my mom's one of them. Every one of those people up there are probably gonna be thrilled because they're living in a development that they bought that don't have the amenities that they expected. So they're,
But in the surrounding community, I'm just telling you what I've heard. I know there's questions that, and it just should be, give them an avenue to express that and give them the chance to be there. When you do it on December 23rd, and you're gonna announce it when?
It's already been,
The public hearing's been announced?
Yes.
Mhm.
The public hearing is gonna be December 23rd.
No matter what?
Yeah.
Well, I'll
Or
tell you
later
that if there is that concern.
How does that work?
How does that work?
Walter, I have a suggestion.
Whoa. What do you mean, how does it work? The
How
way
does a
it-
public hearing work? When was it announced, by the way? I didn't even see that.
It was
In the
in
email that we
today's
got
paper.
yesterday.
Oh, yeah, okay, so it was just announced?
Yeah. That doesn't mean at the end of that public hearing that you can't have another public hearing.
Oh, okay.
But you're not gonna certainly notice a public hearing and then unnotice it.
Okay,
There's gonna be a
okay.
public hearing on the 23rd. If lots of people show up and,
We don't have to close it.
Yeah,
is what-
exactly.
If we get any letters of people saying that it can't be there or they wanted to be there, I
You
can
can
tell you
consider
that
it.
we'll
As it
just,
should
we
be
won't close it
considered.
and we'll leave it open. This is not, you know, we're not rushing this to try to exclude anything. I want to be real clear about that. You know, we had a request and we were, you know, and they were also told, Walter was very clear to them, saying, if one board member is uncomfortable with it, this is not proceeding.
Is the benefit they're looking for so let's just say this proceeds on the 23rd, that it makes sense, that this board votes to approve it. It's subject to a bunch of other things happening?
it would be subject to future applications. If they plan on building a hotel, so they say.
Right.
They haven't applied to us for benefits to build a hotel. They've applied to us for benefits exactly of the nature we have recently approved for the Concord and Kutchers, which would say that so long as they do things, the programs which they're relying on to continue spending money designing their hotel and working on their programs and their projects will continue in place for a certain future period of time.
But it doesn't give them the ability to start reconstructing their sewer plant.
It gives them the ability to work on the improvements which are included in the application, which are water, sewer, roads, and infrastructure. Nothing beyond that.
But if they do that, to Sandy's point, without the required job creation component that would come from their projects that they haven't gotten approval on yet, right?
Mhm.
We put the cart before the horse.
That's between them and the town of Fallsburg. The town really wants them to start these things now because they've got failing septic systems and they want them to do the work now. So we could ask the town to also come. Gene's here, he knows, he just went in the other room on his phone, but they've been before the planning board for in excess of 2 years, if I have my facts correct. Is that right?
Yes.
And during that period of time, they proposed making certain improvements to certain infrastructure, and the town wants them to get that done. They don't want to wait until some program gets approved in Washington for.
But any other property owner, I don't want this to become a case of any other property owner, whether it's an individual or an existing business, to come in here and say, you know, hey, we need to have our septic system fixed, so we're gonna propose this business that we don't know if it's ever gonna go anywhere. We're gonna propose this to get this done first.
Well, you know, it's
I don't
pretty,
wanna
it would
start
be
us
pretty
getting into
strategic
there.
if they went through all the dog and pony show of 2 years at the planning board with hundreds of thousands of dollars expended on engineers and planners and
Well, that's the planning board, I'm
architects.
not on the planning board,
I know,
I'm in
but
this
they've done
committee.
all that. It isn't
I'm-
like they've just
I
showed up.
understand that.
Ira's point
I understand that,
was-
and I'm not privy to that information.
Okay.
Which is why I asked the question.
Okay. Well, they have been before the planning board for 2 years. And it's not somebody who just showed up and said, I want to fix the septic system. They've had a project proposed before the planning board for a long period of time. I've never been to one of those meetings, so all that I did was read the minutes. And you can get them online. They're on the Town of Fallsburg Planning Board website. I read them last week.
I mean, the two concerns I have is, first, don't we normally discuss at a board meeting when a public hearing is gonna be? Not,
We do sometimes.
Once in a while, sometimes yes, sometimes not.
okay.
It's
I
the
mean,
executive director's job to schedule a public hearing.
all right, I just remember several of them being scheduled, consulting the board at a meeting so that the board members can be there. I mean, I have an issue just with the exhibit 2 in the application as far as the time frame that they're asking for, but I guess that can be discussed later. But, I mean, if it's scheduled for the 23rd, it's scheduled for the 23rd, but it seems to go against a couple board members' wishes, so it should be considered.
I think it's not
It is
just,
what it is.
you're having a public hearing and you're putting it specifically at a time when many people from the public aren't gonna be able to be there. And I think it looks bad, I'm sorry, that's my opinion. It looks really bad to have it on the day before Christmas Eve when people are traveling.
Well, we can always leave it open. It's not too late it came about because of the dates that were left in the year and how much notice you need to post a public hearing, and trying to, get this to meet their deadline if possible. It's a project that, that's certainly exciting for Fallsville. I haven't heard negative comments that were implied here, but that doesn't mean they're not out there. I think people around that area are very excited about this project because they've been living in a development without amenities, and that's not what they purchased, a lot of them, under. So they're looking forward to this, besides their land values going up. So I'm not looking to push it. If there's one board member is uncomfortable, we'll slow the process down.
Just for information, I read so much stuff lately, that it also contains the clause about preserving their status for 10 years. Like, it seems to be every application that comes before us now, they say that if the policy should change in the next 10 years, they're protected under that. This resolution that we're proposing will contain that language as well.
They've asked for that, I think that,
That's
yeah,
what I have a
the
problem
answer
with.
is yes. I think anybody that has a project today that's gonna be built over, they're not suggesting that the project is gonna be done in 10 years. This is a very long-term build-out.
Well, I can understand the logic of that. I mean, if you have multi-phases to your project and you go in with the expectation that you're going to have some benefit, it shouldn't be at the whim of just changing board members who all of a sudden change their mind. I mean, that would be unfair because they relied on that decision of the board.
I don't mean to say that I'm not in
Yeah.
favor of it, because I'm.
Right, no, I just wanted to say that I
I
think
just want
that
everybody
it's
to be aware of it,
reasonable.
because when they get the approval just for the infrastructure, they're also they're asking for protection for 10 years that they can apply under the current.
Because they don't wanna go build the water and sewer infrastructure and then have some board change their mind and say, we're not gonna give you benefits for the hotel.
I don't
Because
have a problem with
They
it,
wouldn't
but
be
you
building
know.
a new sewer plant if they weren't gonna build a hotel. I mean,
That's where they would get benefits. Housing, my understanding, it really doesn't fit under our pilot program. So, yes, they can get it for the infrastructure, but their development is a PUD, which is gonna have housing, there's gonna be a golf course.
Destination resort, though, is what I
Yeah,
read.
But the resort part of it would fit as a destination resort.
But this is not see, that's my issue, is the 10 years, and I understand that you don't wanna pull the rug out from under them, and I can certainly support a certain amount of years. But, the theory behind giving the Concord 10 years, my understanding of it was a $600, $700, $800 million project with many, many phases, versus the project that they're presenting to us is one hotel and one golf course. If it takes them 10 years
If
to
they
build
ask
one
for 10
hotel,
years?
yeah, it's in the application.
Okay.
If they're asking for 10 years to build one hotel, I mean, come on.
I think that adds
That's
to my
a big
fear about
problem.
this
Yeah, but what do you
infrastructure.
call it, when the other one we just did, they asked for the same thing.
I don't.
No, they asked for 5.
5.
And you gave them 10.
Because they sat
And
here.
that,
Well,
yeah,
but
but I,
I- thank you,
and I-
We could give
just
5
just
if
to
we
be
wanted
clear,
to, or
and
3.
I didn't ask for 10.
Huh?
We could change the number then.
Right,
right?
and I
Do
expressed
whatever
a
you want.
concern about that at that time, but, and I know Stephen and Ira and I discussed it, but, we're setting a precedent here that everybody's gonna get 10 years. I mean, there's a big difference between spending 600 million and spending 80 million.
Absolutely, completely valid point, and it's something you should definitely consider.
And I
But-
think you could build in
Well, you said we're setting a
milestones.
precedent. That's
They're-
not the
they're-
case, though. We did that with Ideal Snacks before, at least I was on,
Yep.
that they were given 10 years, that their benefits would not change. So this is, I think we're being consistent of everything.
At some point in
you
time, we
start
can't be bound by
projects-
every prior board's
Yeah.
decision.
But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, 10-year, yes, they're.
600 million buys 10 years,
Mm.
80 million doesn't. Not one.
And I
You'll
think,
go off
Having
that
another,
schedule for us.
having another resort up here and additional housing in an area that truly needs resorts, I don't have a problem with that
But
personally.
you can't consistently give away all this taxpayer money with no promise, and there's no guarantee attached to it all the time. There has to be some social economic responsibility here at some point. Not just, it can't always just be about bringing it here. It has to be about what you're creating, the level of the jobs, or we're building a system that's not gonna sustain itself.
Isn't that what the cost benefit analysis is all about? If it doesn't pay for it, it doesn't fly. So that answer,
They always pay for it, so.
it's easy to make an argument that you don't wanna keep on giving this, but if the benefits that don't outweigh the cost, this project doesn't fly anyhow.
Howard, you know, I just asked Howard before this meeting started. You know, I understand the inducements. We had 0 here. And now with the Concord, Kutcher's, Motor Club, the landscape has changed. And I think, I agree with Sean, you cannot just give a blanket 10-year proposal of tax breaks now anymore. It's changed, and I think we need to discuss this now, the IDA.
Well, I think you'll find that when you do get the applicant to come and you ask the question of what's the period of time within which they need to complete their project, for reasons totally unrelated to this board, you'll be able to easily come up with a number that makes sense for
Okay.
you and makes sense for them.
Okay.
Because again, I'm not an EV5 expert, but my understanding is that they have 42 months to complete their project, finish it. So I don't think that, I think the 10 years, I didn't even notice it in the application, I should have. I don't think it's, I agree with Sean, doesn't make any sense under these circumstances. And it certainly won't make any sense when you hear from them about the EV5 requirements. And to be fair to them, they didn't even know this was on the agenda today. They're preparing to come to the public hearing and make a presentation.
So my question is, what sort of a remedy do we have if they go ahead with the infrastructure and the hotel project never happens?
I don't think under these circumstances, what do you mean by a remedy? That they went
It's
and
not-
upgraded the sewer
they
for a
went
bunch
and
of?
they went
and
Hold on,
upgraded
hold on,
the
hold on.
sewers
For a bunch of people who now have failing septic systems, so they're benefiting dozens and dozens and dozens of people?
It's not
At their
economic
expense?
development. It's not economic development.
Okay.
It's not job creation. That's what this agency's for. I'm asking the question.
What is the remedy you want?
What is
To
the provision
disconnect
that
the
they?
houses?
No, what is the
No, I think
provision
you're
that they
asking about
pay
the
back
tax.
the
She's
tax?
asking about the tax break.
If they get a tax break on this project, to fix septic systems
Are they
in
paying
a
taxes on septic
development.
systems now?
If they're gonna pay the taxes on the repairs, they're gonna pay the taxes on the, they're not gonna pay the taxes on the,
If they don't build.
then why did they come for a
if-
tax break?
If they don't build, the town of Fallsburg,
Mhm.
I would urge you to read the planning board minutes.
Okay,
The town of Fallsburg is pushing them to do this earlier than they want to.
okay.
They would much rather do this at the time they're building the hotel. So what we're doing is now we're going at cross purposes with what the local government that they're dealing with wants. The town wants them to do this now, not later, because there's a problem now. They would love to do it later. Read the minutes of the planning board. What I'm saying is, all that they're doing is responding to the town of Fallsburg's request. Gene knows. What is it, Aspen Lane over there, where there's?
I'm not a part of this committee.
What's the name of the street where there's no sewers in Davos?
From the lodge, the old lodge,
Yep.
heading toward Glenwild.
And there's how many houses in there?
My guess would be about 35.
Okay.
Wait, but, so then what is it that what is the benefit they're getting? What is the benefit they're getting?
It's sales tax and mortgage tax, right?
I don't believe there's a mortgage.
But if they
So
apply- in
we're
the
talking about
application, I
giving
thought it
them
was
sales
temporary
tax
ta-
break
mortgage
on
tax.
the
It's not for-
infrastructure?
it's
There's
not
a
for
mortgage tax abatement and a mortgage tax abatement of 30,000 and a sales tax exemption of 350,000.
Correct, yeah. So it's not a tax abatement or a pilot, it's just, it's those two at this point for this part of the project, right?
So then, if the town of Fallsburg is insisting that they get this, then perhaps the town of Fallsburg will be prepared to guarantee the project's fulfillment
Well, they won't
of-
get the sales tax unless they buy the stuff to do it.
But if they buy the stuff, to Sandy's point, they buy the stuff, what we're saying is because of a piece of paper they get from the IDA, they don't have to pay sales tax on the stuff they buy, right? So the town of Fallsburg is requiring them to do it on an earlier schedule
They're
than
not
they.
requiring. You need to read the minutes of the
Okay,
planning board.
okay.
There's an issue, there's a problem, and they're asking them, will you go out and solve the problem before you build your hotel? Are you
Okay,
willing?
and they're saying yes in good faith, we
And
would
they're
do
saying
that
yes
for
in good
you,
faith, correct.
But we would like
So-
the benefit.
Of
So I
course.
think, and I can understand that, so I guess your point is, what if they then don't ever fulfill the hotel, what happens with the fact that they didn't pay the $350,000 in sales tax?
Correct.
It's nowhere near 350,000.
And we usually have a policy,
sewer.
when
Okay.
we give sales tax exemptions, we have a sunset on it of a certain amount of time, and they have to come back and
That
ask
would
us.
happen here.
So they don't
That would
get it
happen
for 10, they don't get that for 4 or
Right.
5 years. They have to
It's-
come back again and
It's
ask.
complicated. I did my best to tell you about it. I mean, if Gene is willing, he knows it like the back of his hand. There's parts of Davos that have different sewer.
And I can understand what the pressure is on
Services.
municipalities.
Some goes to
You
the village
have
of
the
Woodridge
DEC
sewer
hanging
plant.
on your
All of
back.
it goes to the village of Woodridge. Until we have some kind, until the town, not we, until the town of Fallsburg has some
Which
kind
we are
of.
you talking about?
Town of Fallsburg.
Got it.
Until the town of Fallsburg has some type of agreement with the Davos Homeowners Association or whoever is gonna be the entity that is running that show, we have a sewer plant that we can put back online.
Doesn't Davos Point condominium go to that sewer plant now?
No,
Okay.
it did, we shut it down. Because it has to go to the village of Woodridge. There's big problems with that old plant. The town of Fallsburg, as far as I know, doesn't want to invest in that right now until something is done completely, so they know what's gonna happen.
Vermont?
That's what I understand too.
So they didn't have the volume, wasn't that the issue?
What?
The plant?
There's a whole lot of issues there that I'm really not at liberty to discuss. I'm not representing the town of Fallsburg.
It's very clear from the planning board minutes that the town has urged them to do this work sooner rather than later. Is that fair to say?
Yeah,
So I'm gonna ask this question. Is a $300 and some $1,000 potential tax abatement, which you said they're not gonna need that much, gonna stop an $80 million project?
I have no idea. I don't have tea leaves to read.
That's my take on it. My take on it is if they, you know, I really have a problem.
If they were here to do an $80 million project, there's no one in the room here who would not be supporting it.
Correct.
By dividing it up, because the town has asked them to divide it up, we now have a concern. So I think it's an issue between them and the town at this point, if we're not willing to accommodate what the town wants. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. If this was an $80 million project, and all of the components of this project were in a single application before this board, my belief is the board would support it openly.
And
They are not doing that because the town has asked them to do some work earlier in the process than they really wanted to, but they've consented to do that work earlier in the process. Because as Gene said, there's a lot of problems.
we advertise Destination Resort Tax as an enhanced program. I mean, it's a program that we want people to take advantage of. We have it as a program, so when people come and ask for it, we shouldn't sit around and say, well, they're gonna do it anyway, why should we give it to them? And
Right.
maybe they're doing it because we have the program. I think
That's
but
not-
no, but
that's
it's a
not what I'm saying.
destination.
That's a different
Somebody,
That's a
again,
totally
somebody
different-
applies for
That's a
something under
different
our
discussion.
Yeah.
policy.
That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they're putting this forth before that piece is on the table. They haven't come to us with that yet. So they're putting forth to fix the sewer system, which we know has a problem, which the town has told them they have to fix. We shouldn't be the venue for that. They should fix their problems and come to us with a clean slate for what they wanna build for their project. That's my opinion.
Although it's a timing issue, because if they were doing the hotel now, they would get the benefit of the sales tax abatement for the sewer repairs, right? So I think it's, right? So it's just a timing,
you're mixing up three different sewer projects.
Yeah, exactly.
okay?
That's why I don't wanna say anymore, because I don't understand it. I mean, I read the planning board minutes and I was
Well, I
confused.
can't really elaborate on it because I'm not here representing the town of Fallsburg. The town of Fallsburg should be talking to you
Well,
guys
you're,
about
you're,
this.
is it in your district or not?
I do not represent the town.
No, is it in your legislative district? Or could
Yes,
I-
it is.
Can we ask you as a legislator?
And as a legislator, I'm telling you to talk to the town.
Okay, all right,
So
okay.
that's correct. Thank you.
Sorry.
It's a mile and a half from my frickin' house,
I
if you
know-
really
I-
wanna know.
I know you know. But you said before what you needed to say, which is there's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
All right, so how do we make sure these people are dealt with fairly? Because I agree with Charlie, you know, we do promote a program. We are glad to have projects like this coming to the county, and we don't wanna be appearing as anti-supportive prematurely. And I think that so how do we give them the opportunity to, other than the hearing, where that's the public hearing. Is there a way to, should we have a special meeting? I mean, should we invite them in? What should we do?
The public hearing is part of the process. We certainly wouldn't go from the public hearing to giving approval. We have to have a meeting after that. First of all, we all have to get the cost-benefit analysis. We have to review that. So, yes, it is, there's holidays and, you know, we don't even know if we can schedule it that we can get a quorum. But the next step would be for them to come and present to us, yes.
But I think I'm concerned about the timing. I mean, I definitely agree the 23rd is not an optimal date for anybody. But if there is some requirement they have pursuant, based on their standing with the EB5 project that we don't understand, we should understand that, because I'd hate to see them lose an opportunity that they really need. But we're not gonna know that if we wait till the 23rd. I mean, that seems
What I
like,
suggest that we do is, we'll check with the applicant when they can come back and when everybody's available and they need to present to us, whether it's prior to the public hearing or not. And I think that certainly enough questions here with the board that we need to do that, even if we have to have another meeting after that. You know, they should be here. And I don't, that's what I think we should do at least. We'll check with the applicant.
Well, we just, I have a couple questions. We just got this thing. What are they asking from us today?
Nothing.
nothing.
It's on the agenda
We're
because
not-
Jen put it
yeah,
on
I
for
mean,
an
I don't,
update.
this is what I just don't understand. They're not asking for anything from us today. We're gonna get all the information in the future. I don't know what all the, I don't
But
get
Ed,
it.
they're asking us
I
to
don't-
vote on the 23rd. They
No,
need something.
no,
by
They
the-
didn't ask you for
I
that.
thought
Well,
you
they're
said they
asking
need
you to,
something by the
they're
end of
asking
the
us to
year.
vote by the
No, no,
27th,
not at
so you
all.
can
Yeah.
close it by the 31st.
They wanna close it by the end of the year.
That's correct.
Okay,
Okay,
so,
but they're not asking us to vote on it on the 23rd.
So is that unreasonable?
No, but they're asking
Yeah,
for a
actually,
public
I-
hearing on the 23rd.
well, here's the thing.
Which
No,
people
no,
at a disadvantage.
well, no, I mean,
That's the
maybe they
starting
signed it
point.
early,
I
but the
think
application was
that's-
signed on November 15th and notarized.
I understand, but they didn't have parts of it to attach to it until last week. That may be when they had somebody sign it, but that's not when it was completed.
Well,
You see,
You know,
I wish the world was an easier place, but every time they do something, they have to send it to some lawyer named Mark somebody, who's their securities lawyer, to approve it. They gotta send it to some lawyer named Ed somebody, who's their EB5 lawyer, to approve it, and it's just not that easy. We've been meeting with them since August. I'm as frustrated as anybody that this came in December, because I had things I wanted to do at
It
the end
just
of the
seems like
year.
the last 2, 3, 4 projects that have come before this board have been, the applicant wants to get it done on a certain time frame. The applicant wants to get it done, and we're
That's how the
rushing.
world goes.
And,
I agree.
and I understand
I agree.
sometimes you do have to get things done immediately, but I just don't. Steve
Is
said
the
it best, the
consensus-
landscape is changing. I mean, we're gonna find out next year if the landscape really changes. I just think we just slow it down a little bit,
let's deal with one
a
thing.
little bit.
I just
Why
want
are
to
people
say
involved?
something.
I think we should at least listen
We-
to what they have to say before we, jump to any conclusions. I think in making a big mistake just not to. So,
Yeah, I do.
what's everybody's schedule in the next week, that we can schedule another date and have them here and ask you questions?
Yep.
That's fine.
Is the 23rd after the public hearing, so we can see if it, I think it should be after that date to see if there is any public comment, number one. I don't think we should do it before. Is anybody available on the 23rd, that afternoon?
No.
No.
What's the first day that everybody's available? Certainly not
January
gonna-
4th.
I'm on vacation for the whole week, till after, yeah. I mean, that's what people do. They take their Christmas vacation when their kids have vacation.
My sunset and Harold's sunset is December 31st.
You're gonna have trouble getting a quorum
If you
between
need,
24th and
I will
New
be
Year's.
here.
I think we should just do it as a regular, we can have the public hearing, but maybe all the information will get to us by the 23rd. If they need the information for the public hearing, and they should, and then we'll get the information and.
But that's what I'm trying to do, pick a date when we would have a quorum to discuss it. Not a quorum, I'd like everybody to
But we
be here.
can't.
There are a lot of questions.
It's an $80 million project, and we can't even have board members at this public hearing, which you guys, I've made it very public how I feel about having board members at public hearings when it's at all possible.
I mean, I can be here on the 20, what time is it?
I mean, I'll be there, I'll figure out how to be there, but it's,
Well, let's see who cannot be there, so you see if there's a quorum. I cannot.
I
For
can't
the
be there.
You
public
don't need a
hearing?
quorum at the public hearing, but
23rd.
at least we listen.
but we should have a quorum at the public hearing, Charlie. What you're legally allowed to do and what you're morally obligated to the public to do are two entirely different things. The public should see at least a majority of IDA members at a public hearing before they issue a vote on an $80 million project with a 16-year tax abatement. That's a position I have and I'll never change.
Well, I'm gonna be there, so let's go around.
Down a block,
I thought,
Harris?
I know, I thought you were talking about a reconvene meeting, but you're talking about a public hearing.
Well, first, there's a question on both. I just wanna see how many board members will be there. That it is not required, the bottom line is you get the minutes anyhow, but I plan on being there.
When are they planning to get us the rest of the packet?
Probably
Said
the
we're missing
22nd.
something?
What is the rest of the package?
Didn't you say that the cost benefit analysis?
They said they'd try by the end of this week or early next week.
So all the people will have to comment on is their proposal that we've gotten.
Pretty much.
So they're commenting on a,
Well, we'll have the
Sewer
cost
plant.
benefit for the public hearing.
Exactly.
but, okay, but
That's right.
the project that they're proposing in this application is a sewer plant for $8 million. That there is.
No, roads.
Water.
Roads,
Infrastructure.
Water infrastructure, sewer collection system, and upgrades to a sewer plant, was what I read.
And that, okay.
And let's go to the more difficult question, I guess, because the public hearing is happening one way or the other. Is there a time period when people can meet and have them present to us?
like
Obviously,
you-
after the 23rd, because I think it would be a waste of time not to have public comment.
What is the lock-in to having this public hearing on the 23rd? Just because it's already been announced, because they've been changed before. So I'm curious what the lock-in to having this on that day is.
It's been published, and I didn't see, I still don't see an issue with having the public hearing. Worst case scenario, if there's any comments, we can always leave it open and have another date. I don't think canceling it makes sense.
Don't we usually get presentations before the public
Yeah,
hearing?
usually we do.
So couldn't we have them come in next week?
I'd have to-
Before people leave for holidays and things like that, and let them present, and we get all the information, we could ask all our questions, and then they have the public hearing where it's the public's chance. It shouldn't be the board, frankly, I don't think that should be grilling them at a public hearing, right? It's the
You're
public.
100% correct.
Right, so if we bring them in here first, we get a chance to ask what we need to know, get a comfort level, and then they have the hearing.
Is everybody available next Tuesday? I'm sure I am.
Next Tuesday, I am not.
If it were in the afternoon, yes.
A better day?
What time?
I can do Monday and Friday.
Yeah,
I
I can do Monday.
I can do Monday.
Yeah, I can't do Monday, but I
You
don't need
can't?
to be here.
I can do Monday. Or Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday.
I can do Tuesday afternoon,
I can do Wednesday afternoon.
I can do Wednesday afternoon as long as it's before, I have a conference call at 4, so anytime before that is fine.
Wednesday afternoon? Wednesday, I have to, as long as it's like around noon, I'm gonna have to leave about 1 o'clock, leave the area.
For Tuesday?
Tuesday is good,
Or they're
Monday
just
is
gonna
good,
Express what they're
Thursday is
doing?
board
Right.
meeting.
All they're gonna tell you is, these are our maps of our sewer lines we wanna put in. I mean, it's gonna be a short meeting.
Well, I would say that the town of Fallsburg should be there too.
Yeah.
It won't do any good, because it sounds like most of our questions really frankly have to do with the town, not with.
You said it exactly right, it's a timing issue, that's all it is.
Right,
I think
this is
they
a
pretty
timing
well
issue.
agreed, from what I read, they pretty well agreed to what they need to do. It's a matter of whether they do it when they're building a hotel, or whether as an accommodation, because there's a problem, they do it earlier. That's the whole issue. That's the only issue.
And again, that's between the town of Fallsburg and them.
That's
That
correct.
should have nothing to do with you guys.
That's correct.
That's kind of where I'm at.
And I'll swear I never said that, even though he's got me on film. No, I'm just kidding.
If that was the case, any development that had a problem with their sewer system could come in here and say, You know, we might do something in the next 10 years, but we wanna fix our sewer system now, and we want a tax abatement for it. I have a problem with that. That's not what this board is designed to do.
Then they should just,
That's my
I
opinion.
respect your opinion.
That's my opinion.
What, can I ask, what is the proposed, I realize it's proposed, what is the proposed timing of the bigger project?
I don't think anybody knows.
Well, no, you know it.
I mean, I know what they think it's gonna be,
Yeah.
but 2 years ago, it was,
The
What
same
is-
thing.
But that's the thing, is we can't keep, this is what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of, like Ira said, well, we did it for Ideal Snacks with 10 years. I'm afraid of keep making these decisions and then in 2 years turning around and saying, well, we set a precedent when we did it this way. And so clearly we have to be super careful about the precedents we set. I mean, they're putting in an application asking for an abatement saying, construction of infrastructure is expected in spring of 2014 and hotel is anticipated to begin in fall of 2014.
At the time,
They're-
yes, things are changing, but I don't see that we need to put a lock on the door yet and not keep on a tracking
I'm not
business
saying-
here.
I'm not
Unless
just-
I'm living in another county.
I'm not saying-
It's not
You
putting
know,
a
that's
lock
not
on the
what I
door,
said.
it's being more diligent about how much money you're giving away and the projects that you're giving them to. There's a big difference between that and putting a lock on the door. It's saying there's gonna be accountability.
They're here prior to any. Look, I've long said I'm in favor of you give a lot away to the first guy, a little less to the second guy, a little less, and you wean them off. I've long said I believe in that. We're not at that change yet. So yeah, they're here beforehand. They're here under the Destination Resort Program. That's fine. That's all fine and good. My issue is that the 10 should maybe become 5. But they're saying they can do it in 2014. So if they don't do it in 2016,
Sean, they said they could do it in 2000. There's so much that's not in their control. There's a huge amount that's not in their control. I think 2014 fall, based upon what I have heard about this project, is the moon and the stars and the sun all aligned. I don't see that necessarily
2016. It doesn't take 7 years.
from what you're gonna find out when you hear from them, and let's at least hear from them, because we're here talking about their project without
Yeah,
it, which is totally unfair. Okay? It's on the agenda today. If they had known it was on the agenda, they would have been here. You're gonna hear from them that in the EB5 program, from the day that they start to the day that they need to finish, there's a definitive time frame. I totally agree with you that the 10 years in their application is a throw-in because they took it out of somebody else's resolution. I totally agree with you. But
Okay.
when you hear from them, you're gonna hear that there's a time frame. I don't remember what they told me, but there's a time frame and it's short.
Sandy, question. If-
Let's go back to trying to get a date, because that's really the key
Well, I
to
thought
anything
let's do
happening.
next Wednesday at 1 o'clock. Does that work for everybody?
All right, I have a question for Sandy.
That was, no, 'cause I have to leave.
If this project was off and running and they were gonna build a tourist destination, hotel and everything else, would you be in favor of abatements?
If-
Sales tax?
If this was tied in with their major project, like the other projects have been, absolutely. I haven't voted down any of those other projects.
So, is there any way possible, and I'm just reaching for the sky, that have have an escrow account where the sales tax goes into it, and if they need it?
The answer is no.
And
Great question, though.
It's a very
It's a
simple
really good
answer.
question.
Actually, my appointment's in Middletown at 3, so on Wednesday, if you wanted to do it, I don't think it's gonna take more than an hour. Or maybe do it at noon instead, and then there's a little bit more. Can everybody do noon on the 18th?
Yes.
Yep,
Yes?
I think
Sandy?
yep, I'm good.
Ed?
Yeah.
Harris? Sean?
Yeah, I can, noon on the 18th.
Yes.
Okay.
The only thing that we've
We had to
omitted
check with
to
the client.
consider is whether or not the
Yeah,
applicant will be here. It's no big deal.
No.
Assuming the applicant.
Never assume.
No, we're gonna, I mean, if you can't, then we're not having the meeting.
I would assume after if they look at the minutes of this conversation, they're gonna work very hard to
Either
be
that
here.
or not.
No, 12, noon on the 18th. And I'll check with, to see if I can get somebody from Fallsburg to be here.
And I'll let everybody know if that's coming about. I'm gonna have it.
Okay.
If it all works.
Then the 23rd, at what time was the public hearing?
Okay. Wait, the 23rd. Oh, you're a week ahead.
I'm just putting-
That's the
Oh.
public
The
hearing.
18th. No,
Not
I'm just
this
putting,
meeting.
no,
Not
the
this
public
meeting.
hearing,
Oh.
23rd,
Yeah.
I got
at
it.
10. I'm just
Oh,
putting
yeah.
it in my calendar, that's all. And that's at 10 o'clock?
Yes.
Town of Fall.
No, that's in Town of Fallsburg, in the court. Okay. New business, we have to approve the date for 2014.
Make a motion to approve the date.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor? Okay,
I have one thing I'd like to say before we adjourn,
okay.
that I don't know if everyone saw the obituary for Barbara Burton. Everybody see that? A
Yep.
lady that came here to all of our meetings and was such an outspoken critic and supporter of us all at the same time. Passed away last week. As he was. So, I don't know, if somebody can come up with a good public comment in her honor.
Special lady.
You know, I gotta add that word to the, perfect, very special. Yes, she
Well
was.
said.
I know what her last public comment was to us, and that was, I have no public comment.
Well, she was at my board meeting about a week before she passed away. She took a bus to Liberty, and she says, "I know there's a big thing coming. I know there's a big thing coming." You know, and she says, "And you know it too." There was a big thing coming. For her, yeah.
Wow. I don't know, I think on that note.
Watch out for lightning. You make a motion, please?
Charlie, watch out for lightning.
Wow.
That's on Bill.
Before you
I'll never
adjourn,
be
Harold,
really good,
comment.
but-
Good man.
Okay,